Hey guys, it's JP, and today we are going to go over how to train the calf muscles at home. I have talked about these muscles in more detail and how they relate to running. However, based on the current situation, I wanted to give some insight on how to target these muscles at home where there is basically no equipment available. First, let's briefly go over why you should strengthen these muscles. The reason you should continue to work on them at home is because they are significantly involved in running. Based on some research, they actually contribute the most to pushing off the ground, so you can move farther forward with each step. Now, in training the calves, you must realize that there are multiple muscles involved in the calf muscle complex, specifically the gastrocnemius and the soleus. This is important to understand as you can better target either muscle based on how you position yourself. For example, both are activated as you perform heel raises, but typically, the more bent the knee is, the more you bias the soleus. Knowing this knowledge is key because the soleus muscle can be commonly neglected in a training program. This can be a missed opportunity as research has shown that this specific muscle can produce 6 to 8 times your body weight. Now let's go over some exercises that target the calf muscle complex. Remember that it's important to really try to challenge these muscles to better prepare them for running. So incorporating weighted objects may help load these muscles, as well as some other methods which I will also go over. Another thing to note is that for strengthening, I typically work toward targeting the desired muscle group with 2 to 3 exercises for 4 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 repetitions at an intensity of 80% 1 rep max or 7 out of 10 on the RPE scale. While you may not be able to reach these kinds of values at home, simply loading them as much as you can at this time will help you maintain the gains you have made through your training previously. Now, the first exercise I will go over is a single leg bridge heel raise. I'm starting with this one as this is a fun way to engage the calf, more specifically the soleus since the knee is in a bent position, as well as the lumbopelvic hip complex. As I mentioned in a previous video, addressing lumbopelvic hip control can be very beneficial for runners. Now to do this one, you will start in a single leg bridge position. Common cues I use for positioning are to keep the glutes engaged, try to keep each side of the pelvis level with each other, and keep the thighs in line with each other. While maintaining this position, push down from the big toe and pretend like you are lifting the entire lower body up. One way to tell if you're doing this right is if the pelvis is moving up and down respectively with the heel raises. Now to further challenge yourself at home where weights may not be readily available, you can simply change the tempo by increasing the speed coming up on the heels and slowing down the speed as you lower down. The second exercise you can incorporate at home is heel raises. This is a great and popular way to begin to work on these muscles. To position yourself for this one, you simply keep your trunk upright. Then, drive down from the big toe, then maintain control as you lower to the ground. Now to challenge yourself more at home with this exercise, you can hold weighted objects on each side, similar to what is seen here. You can change the tempo as I noted earlier by increasing the speed coming up and slowing down the speed as the heel lowers. You can also increase the difficulty by placing the balls of the feet at the edge of a step or a 1 to 2 inch surface like a book. Using an elevated surface will increase ankle mobility demands, which will further challenge the muscles. Remember that you can also keep the knee a little bent if you want to bias the soleus muscle more when you do any variation of the heel raise. The next exercise I will go over is a supported single leg heel raise. This was inspired by another incredible physical therapist, Chris Johnson. I like this variation because it further increases strength demands without the balance aspect from a single leg position. It also requires minimal equipment, which is perfect for performing at home. The difference with this one is that you would put the support foot on an elevated surface, such as a step or a stack of books. Remember that you should not lean on this foot and should only really be used for balance. If you want to make sure you are not relying on that foot too much, you can place a ball under the foot as shown. This can also serve as a great cue for this exercise because when you are performing the heel raise, you should focus on coming straight up as you lift the heels. If you find the ball rolling forward instead, you may be leaning forward, which decreases demands placed on the calf. Anyway, similar to the last exercise, you can make this more challenging by holding weighted objects or change the tempo when you raise and lower the heel. The next variation we will go over is a single leg heel raise. compared to the previous exercise, this involves increased strength and coordination demands. To do this one, keep your trunk upright and push down from the big toe as you raise up. Then slowly lower the heel. And you can continue to repeat it. Just remember that this one requires increased balance and coordination demands, so you may need to use a hand for support on the wall or a stable surface as you begin to perform it. As I mentioned before, you can make this more challenging by holding weighted objects, change the tempo by increasing speed when the heel raises, and slowing it down when the heel lowers, as well as placing the ball of the foot on an edge of a 1 to 2 inch surface. The last exercise I will go over is the elevated bent knee heel raise. I wanted to show you guys this advanced variation that biases the soleus. This can be tough and pretty demanding without using any external resistance like weighted objects. I've already mentioned how to do a heel raise, so I won't go over it again, but I will go over common compensations I see when performing this specific variation. Now, when you do want to bias the soleus, you want to keep the knee bent, but you also want to keep it stiff in this position. This is because if you don't, you may end up compensating by lifting up from the heels, but not actually raising up the body. By doing so, this actually minimizes loading of the calf muscles and compromises the benefits you would get from this activity. And those are a few ways to train the calf muscles at home. I hope you guys found this helpful based on the current situation. Also, I hope you guys continue to be safe and healthy. And as always, thank you for watching.